I'm Kevin Stevens, a native Pensacolian, husband, father, and U.S. Navy veteran. But that's not what this is about. I'm a local businessman who has owned many successful companies over the years. But it's not about this either. Recently, I ran for public office and was elected to a seat on the ECUA Board of Commissioners. So what's this about? It's about an elected official who will serve his community and hold his fellow elected officials accountable, all while making local government more transparent. Join me in making Pensacola a better place to live, work, and play. Welcome back to another exciting episode of On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So today I've got a guest that I'm going to introduce you all to shortly. But first, I want to start with the latest ECUA rate increase. I've gotten several calls from folks addressing that with me with their concerns, rightfully so. I get the normal questions, is there anything you guys could do differently? And again, so I want to take just a few minutes before I get into a very exciting episode that addresses some stuff that we deal with at ECUA, some flooding, some storm water, and so forth. I wanted to address the rate increase. I wanted to answer to you, my constituents, as well as the other ratepayers of Escambia County, on why I voted for this rate increase. When I ran for this position almost 2 years ago, it's crazy. Time flies. Fun is a bonus. I always tell my wife. But I said that I would look at the financials of ECUA, and before I ran for this office, I had to ask myself, could I add value? I'm not going to do something if I can't add value, and I do that before I look at it in the private sector, my day job, as I affectionately refer to it as. Before I look at companies, whether to invest in them or acquire them, can I add value? Can one of my other industries add value to that? If the answer is yes, then I go forward. So that's the questions I had to ask myself about ECUA: is can I add value? Budget is I'm a nerd with numbers when it comes to math is not my strong suit, except when it comes to money. So amortization schedules, graphs, things like that. I've got the Rain Man brain where I can kind of dissect a lot of that stuff. So P&Ls, balance sheets, debt schedules, cash flow statements. That's what I do. I look for inefficiencies, redundancies, where we can make some consolidations, and so forth. So I like to think I've done that and brought that skill set to ECUA, and thereby added value to the ratepayers who were. I'm thankful enough that you elected me. So I wanted to go into some of that. I've had a couple phone calls. They said, Mr. Stevens, and always quick to correct people, please call me Kevin. But you said you would never vote for a rate increase when you ran, and I've had to correct folks. I said, I've never said that. I said, here's what I said. I wish that with all the phone video nowadays, you think somebody would have that on their camera phone. When I was at Jimmy's Grill at a couple fundraisers, I said before I voted for a rate increase, I would make sure that I went through the budget. And if you ever have trouble reading it, here's our budget, by the way. So if you ever have any trouble sleeping, this is great reading material. And I would go through that page by page, painfully, page by page, and see if I could find any redundancies, waste, and so forth. And then if I could work on some consolidation to save it. And if I couldn't find any waste or redundancies, if I couldn't find anywhere to cut it, then and only then would I consider a rate increase. So we're going to take a short commercial break, but I want to go into a little bit more about that, go into some of the hot points, some of the specifics on why that rate increase was approved by myself and the other board members. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does two things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently and they provide remarkable customer service. There are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
Welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So before we left off, I was going over some specifics about the recent ECUA rate increase. I was going over some of the reasoning behind why myself and the other board members voted in the affirmative to raise that. And I also went over a little bit about some of my, I believe, skill set when it comes to looking at financials, dissecting those financials. So let me just start off with a couple undeniable costs associated with ECUA. So everybody's heard about FPL. Everybody has had a rate increase. I've had a rate increase. First and foremost, I'm a consumer like all of you. So I had a rate increase at my home. But ECUA also had a rate increase. So our rate increase, and this is not the total ECUA FPL bill. This is what our bill increased as of this year, $1.7 million. Our power bill went up $1.7 million, and that's just one cost. You know, you look at payroll. Our payroll went up between 1.7 and 1.8 million, and with majority of that, and that was my vote last year. Which got me from a no to a yes. I wasn't going to have increases in rates go to the general fund, the black hole fund. I want it specifically allotted for CDL drivers and garbage haulers and so forth. So a vast majority of that went to those guys. All right. But that went up $1.7, $1.8 million. And that's with 75 open positions. So currently ECUA, shameless plug for ECUA, by the way, check us out. Great place to work, great benefits, very, very positive environment. You get to work with good humored folks like myself. But we got 75 open positions. So that's not even a real number when it comes to $1.7, $1.8 million of payroll increase, right? Because that's 75 open positions that haven't been filled, which will go up above that. We've got fuel cost. You know, typically we budget, and our guys are great. Our accounting firm is great. They typically nail it when it comes to forecasting what we need to allot for our budgets. But we're off just a smidge, about $540,000. So our fuel cost, a large part of that is diesel. I drive a Ford F-250 that just drinks diesel, just drinks it. You know, so you guys can imagine, you all can imagine that, you know, when you're filling up, it's an average of $100+ a pop to fill that up. Ours is $540,000. So where does that money come from? We're a not-for-profit, ladies and gentlemen. We're a public utility. I have to explain that to folks. We're not FPL. We don't have shareholders. You're the shareholder. I'm the shareholder. So that's why I voted for the affirmative for the rate increase. I looked through this. I combed through page by page and cut some cost, did some consolidations on some higher debt and refinanced a year ago for some lower debt, saving the ratepayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. In doing all of that, and tried as I did, I still could not make up $3 to $4 million of rate increase. The only way to get that money is from us. That's it. There's no magic fund to take that from. So I just wanted to, I felt, and I don't look at $4 a month as being small. I understand that may not be a lot of money for myself and folks that are working, but you got a lot of folks on fixed income that I'm very cognizant of. So I want you to understand that those were my reasons and my reasoning for voting in the affirmative for the rate increase for the $4 additional a month, which won't be for everybody, it'll be for some folks. And I felt I owed you an explanation. So for those reasons, again, that's why I voted for it. I'll be happy to take any phone calls, questions, but I want to make sure that when you set that garbage can out there, there's somebody there to pick it up. When you set that yard debris out there, there's somebody to pick it up. And if they miss it, you call me. If they miss it, you call me, you email me, I'll take care of it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short commercial break to get in to talk to my good friend Chris Kerb at Flood Defenders.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic, and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region. Specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
YNG Global provides intense real-world combat training for individuals and teams. Our firearms training includes concealed carry, pistol, rifle, and advanced weapons and tactics. Our medical training involves evidence-based life-saving techniques, and our close protection services provide safe, controlled, monitored movement for personnel and executives. We're the only tactile pistol and carbine training facility in the Panhandle. Get the best at 850-380-1085.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does 2 things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently and they provide remarkable customer service. You know, there are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
So welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So before the break, we were talking about my position at ECUA and some rate increases and why we did what we did. But now we're moving to the fun stuff, which is talking to my good friend, Mr. Chris Kerb. Mr. Chris Kerb is with Flood Defenders. And Chris, just tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Flood Defenders.
All right. Well, as you said, my name's Chris Kerb. I worked with Escambia County for 25 years. Last 7, I was their stormwater engineer manager. I did construction management. I did development services for, I believe it was about 11 years. So stormwater is my passion, and basically that's what I eat, sleep, and drink is about stormwater. That's what I think about, you know. So lost my job after Hurricane Sally. Lesson in humility there, I guess. I won't go into the depths of that, but guy called me up, chairman of the American Flood Coalition. His name's Jay Faison.
Okay.
And he says, I'm founding a advocacy group called Flood Defenders. We have a web page, flooddefenders.org. We have a Facebook page, Flood Defenders-Panhandle. And our whole goal is to make flooding a priority. Fix the drainage that's here in the Panhandle. I cover the whole Panhandle, but I've got about as far as Okaloosa County. Real strong in Escambia and pretty strong in Escambia, Santa Rosa County. So, that's what I try to do is I try to help folks find their voice with our local governments.
And sometimes that does create challenges. I mean, being a part of that government, you know, I can tell you, I'm personally a member of both your pages. So, you know, stormwater, again, because it's so symbiotic with what we do. I mean, we've got the water and the sewer and so forth. So those are synonymous with one another. And I know you're very vocal with the local communities. I know I appreciate it. I know they appreciate it. Getting out there, they say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, so you've been pretty squeaky.
Oh yeah, I've been a little squeaky there, and that's what it's all about. It's we the people. It's not me the people.
Amen.
And when the we show up at board meetings and say, "Hey, we all have the same problem of flooding," they tend to respond and spend money on drainage. The county does have a plan. It's back after April 2014 when we had 22 to 26 inches of rain. That's a lot of water in 24 hours.
We had a historical amount. My understanding this year we've set records for this year in the Panhandle for rain, historical flow.
our average is around 60. I think we're up at around 90 by the end of this season, probably.
And we're not done yet.
Right. So, but anyway, so county formed it's called the Stormwater Advisory Team. They came up with a list of 200 and something projects, $417 million. And that was based off of basin studies that I worked with quite a bit. And what a basin study is you basically model out all the drainage and you run it through a model and you tell where all your flooding problems are. You also do questionnaires to the residents in the basin and you come up with concept solutions for projects. Similar to the way ECUA works. I mean, y'all have areas where you have failing septic tanks. That's where you want to put your sanitary sewer improvements.
And that's a big, and again, speaking of that, that's something I want to talk about here shortly. A, about those graphs. B, about some of the septic to sewer conversions that we're doing as well, right after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region, specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
At Florida Insurance Agency, we have enough available resources to insure just about anything in Florida at the best rates. With dozens of companies to choose from, you don't just get a policy, you get the best policy for you. That means savings and comfort, knowing you are covered. We're only a local phone call away, and you can stop by any of our 3 offices anytime for assistance. Florida Insurance Agency. Our policy is great service.
YNG Global provides intense real-world combat training for individuals and teams. Our firearms training includes concealed carry, pistol, rifle, and advanced weapons and tactics. Our medical training involves evidence-based life-saving techniques, and our close protection services provide safe, controlled, monitored movement for personnel and executives. We're the only tactile pistol and carbine training facility in the Panhandle. Get the best at 850-380-1085.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
So welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. Again, here with Chris Kerr, my good friend here with Flood Defenders, just going over stormwater and what effects that has on our community, which here lately have been, some of them have been pretty catastrophic. So Chris, you before, like I said, before the break, you were just going over some ideas and perhaps some solutions. I love solutions.
Well, Flood Defenders has a solution, and it's real simple. It's plan, protect, invest, and maintain. I was talking about the plan earlier. Had a $417 million plan in 2015. That was after the April 2014 storm event. That price tag's probably up around $650 million, and the number of projects have increased. We had Hurricane Sally. That increases projects as well. The invest part of it is, Escambia County spends or funds, allocates $4 million a year out of their local option sales tax into drainage. You can't do a lot with $4 million a year when you have a $417 million.
And it sounds like a lot, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah.
$4 million sounds like a ton of money. You're just like, ooh, what can you do with $4? Not a whole lot.
Not when you got to satisfy 5 commissioners.
Sure.
So what you do is you design the projects, you get the concepts laid out, you do your basin studies, and then you invest in your engineering and you apply for grants. Just this past year, DeSantis issued $403 million, granted $403 million in the Flood Resilience Grant Program. And there's more to come. I think there was $600 million for the five years. And the county got some of that money. there were 4 projects. Can't remember exactly how much it was, but they did get 4
And
projects.
a similar project, like you're aware of, a similar project, we got, ECUA got $11 million.
Right.
And I always tell folks, that sounds all well and good to get that $11 million grant money.
But you got to have that match.
You have to match it. That's
You
what I
gotta
tell
have
people.
that
They're just like,
match.
hey, $11 million, congratulations, that's fantastic. I'm like, you can thank the staff. They get 100% of the credit for that. But now we have to come up with $11 million. Now,
If it's a
where's that
50-50 match.
Sure, if it's a 50-50
sometimes
match.
it's a 25%.
Sure.
And sometimes it's 75. It's different depending on the different types of grants. And there's tons of grants
But I love
out
it because
there.
I'd rather come up with 50% of something than 100% of something.
Absolutely, absolutely. But you got to have that base money. You got to have that base concept to apply for that grant. And that goes into staff. You also have to invest in your staff. You were saying you had some vacancies at ECUA.
75. Thank you for that again, Chris.
Right. Escambia County has some vacancies too.
Escambia County has a lot of vacancies.
422 was the last I checked. I know their road department, I think they're at like a little more than, a little less than 50% capacity. And that's the maintenance part of it. I mean, you have
And
to
that
maintain.
affects services.
Right.
That affects services right there. That's the big deal. I mean, when I'm short drivers, folks' garbage is getting missed. Debris piles aren't being picked up. It's a real problem. And again, I understand the county's doing it as well. It's the same situations.
And Santa Rosa County's having the similar problems over there. It's hard to keep staff on when you can make more money going to work in the private sector.
In the private sector.
And I know the county's seeing a lot of that, especially with the road department. But you do have to maintain what you build out there, and if you don't, it costs you more money to do projects because you're fixing what you didn't maintain if you're not on a regular schedule maintaining things. So, ponds blow out during hurricanes. If they're maintained real well and they're functioning real well, they might last through a good hurricane.
And that's going to be the real critical part. And that's something I want to talk to you about is we can zero in on a couple of solutions and a couple ideas and forward this program maybe to some of the county commissioners and see if we can't get a thoughtful ear. Be right back. Stay tuned after this short commercial break.
Hi, I'm Sean McCorkle with Genesis Land and Title. What makes a great title company? Forbes magazine says that a good title company does 2 things well. They coordinate the transaction efficiently and they provide remarkable customer service. There are few things worse than poor customer service when you are spending your hard-earned money. Our professional and friendly team will go above and beyond to ensure that your closing experience is as pleasant and stress-free as possible.
Extreme Pumping and Septic. Septic system services, lift station services, storm drain jetting, grease trap cleaning, and more. Extreme Pumping and Septic is your portable toilet rental headquarters for Baldwin, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa. Got an extreme emergency? Extreme Pumping and Septic has 24/7 emergency services 7 days a week. Extreme Pumping and Septic is the only septic company in our area with financing options. Call now or book online at extremepumpingandseptic.net.
Extreme Fleet Maintenance is a complete hydraulic and diesel servicing company for the Gulf Coast region, specializing in Ford Power Stroke, Dodge Cummins, Chevy Duramax, and all diesel. We work on light and heavy-duty vehicles, forklifts, hydraulics, generators, warehouse, and farm equipment. Our emergency services are 24/7. When you need us, we are there. Call us at 850-972-8087.
Welcome back to On the Board with Kevin Stevens. So again, where we left off, we're still just trying to sort through some ideas with my good friend Chris Kerb here at Flood Defenders and talking about stormwater. And it may not be glamorous, but I'm going to tell you, it's a necessity and something that we need to address and we get it on top of now because it's not going to get any better.
You're right.
So Chris, go. Let's kind of zero in on some solutions.
Well, solutions is spending money and getting those grants. But you have to do your basin studies. You have to come up with your concept plans. It's just like ECUA. You need to know where you need to expand your sanitary sewer. You need to know where your failing infrastructure is for your water lines. You know, it's the same thing with the county. You need to know where your stormwater problems are. You got to know how much water is going into a basin and how much water is going out to figure out when you do something in that basin, what's it going to do to the people in that basin.
Yeah, what's the capacity?
Right. So, and that falls into the protect category. Protect is your land development codes. ECUA has codes when people are, you know, designing for water lines and sewer service. They got to follow y'all's codes, and y'all's codes are based off of FDEP. The county's the same way. One big issue that I've tackled with Escambia County and Santa Rosa County is they're using obsolete rainfall data, and that's a big issue. I won't go into it too much, but you
got to have accurate data. Bottom line,
right. You got to have accurate data.
You can't come up with a comprehensive plan with data that's not accurate.
Right. I mean, they're using something called NOAA Atlas 14 is what we should be using. DOT has some 1960s rainfall data. And it's the difference between 2 and 2.5 inches for a 100-year, 24-hour storm, which is our standard for stormwater. So,
and regardless of what side of the aisle you fall on, I think we can all agree weather conditions are changing.
They definitely
They
are
are
changing.
definitely changing. I mean, again, regardless, you know, this isn't a political issue.
No, it's not.
This is a common sense issue. I can tell you from being born in this town, in Pensacola being my home, the rain, the weather changes and so forth, it is changing.
Well, I mean, Ian, or Ian, however you say it, that hurricane was the biggest hurricane that's hit Florida, and I don't know how long it's been, but it's the biggest hurricane is what I saw on the news. That's a lot of damage, that's a lot of flooding. Now, can you plan for something like that? I don't know. I know that you can do your best to adapt to
Try
that.
to mitigate,
yeah,
as best you can.
One big thing, you have to do vulnerability assessments. You got to know when you're on sea level rise and climate change or storm surge. You need to know all that going into your plans. So that's what I try to do is I try to urge our county officials to, you know, spend money on drainage, plan, have land development codes protect, invest in your staff, invest in your projects so you can get more grants.
And I'd like to think
and
we're
maintain.
getting some of that.
Right. I carry neighborhoods up to the board meetings, and they listen to us, and we have a Facebook page, Flood Defenders, Panhandle. People post flooding videos and photos on there and comments, and the Board of County Commissioners, they look at that stuff.
Well, and I can tell you, and as an ECUA board member, I look at it as well. So I can tell you definitively. I know we talked briefly about maybe, you know, ECUA partnering up with the county,
and they should.
I'm you know, again, I'm one vote, I'm one member, but I'm very very interested in that. Right?
Well,
one is too
Haven
small a number for greatness. So.
Yeah, Beach Haven was a fine
great example of partnering, working together. So I want to thank you, Chris, for coming on the show. I want to thank you for your counsel, because if I got a flood issue or if I've got a question, this is the guy that I'm going to.
Call me anytime.
So I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate my audience. Appreciate each one of members of Escambia County, my constituents. I want to thank you for tuning into my show. God bless and have a great day. We'll see you next month.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
I just remembered it's election day. Are you going to vote?
I don't know. I don't think I'll have time today.
Millions of eligible voters in America never make it to the polls or even register to vote. When you don't vote, you're letting other people make decisions for you and pick the things your taxes will pay for. Voting is more than a civic duty. It gives you a voice about the priorities and the future of your community and our nation. Voting gives you a seat at the table.